When Courtney Hadwin walked out on the AGT stage, everyone knew she wasn't just another young singer. Fans talked about her in secret, fought about, and tried to figure out for years what was different about her. Courtney finally spoke out after keeping quiet for a long time. It shocked everyone who had been following her story. It seems like everything has a little more meaning now: her voice, her quick rise, and her almost unbelievable change on stage. Fans always thought there was more to the girl with the amazing voice than met the eye. She's finally admitting it for the first time. Everything about AGT. The show America's Got Talent, or AGT as most people call it, is one that almost everyone has heard of. There are a lot of loud, emotional, dramatic, funny, and surprising parts. But the show has a pretty interesting past that lies beneath all the glitz and glamour. The first episode of AGT aired on NBC on June 21, 2006. The show wasn't put together on the spur of the moment. This was actually part of a much bigger plan by Simon Cowell, who created The X Factor. He wanted to make a talent show that wasn't limited to just one person. He wanted more than just singing and dancing. He wanted a show where people of all ages and from all over the world could show off their skills, such as magic or stunts, funny acts, animal tricks, or anything else that amazed people. That idea became the basis for all of the Got Talent shows. It's interesting that AGT wasn't meant to begin in the US. A British version was supposed to come out in 2005 and 2006, with TV star Paul O'Grady as the host. But when O'Grady got into a fight with ITV in the UK, the whole idea fell apart. Simon Cowell didn't wait, he went ahead and brought the plan to America. NBC loved the idea, especially after seeing the pilot that was shot in the UK, and they ordered episodes right away for the summer. Regis Philbin was the host of the first season, and David Hasselhoff, Brandy Norwood, and Piers Morgan were some of the judges. When Cowell wasn't on the judges' table, the show got a lot of viewers. Because it was so popular, ITV brought back the British version the next year. That's how Britain's Got Talent got started. After that, the global brand pretty much took off. Performers come to AGT from all over the world these days. There have been dancers from Asia, dance groups from Africa, singers from Europe, and even robots from Japan on this American show. At the moment, Simon Cowell, Howie Mandel, Mel B, and Sofia Vergara are the judges, and Terry Crews is the host. Winners of AGT get a lot of money and, since season 3, the chance to be the star of a show on the Las Vegas Strip, which is many artists' dream come true. Also, about 10 million people watch it every season, which shows that the formula is still very popular. As AGT has grown over the years, it has given rise to several new games. AGT Fantasy League, AGT Extreme, AGT The Champions, and AGT All-Stars as TV shows. Even a book called Inside AGT came out in 2013. Sharing stories from behind the scenes and conversations with contestants from the past. That is, AGT did more than just become a hit, it left a global legacy that continued to bring amazing talents from all over the world to the world's attention. Early life and career of Courtney Hadwin. She grew up in the peaceful town of Hesleden in County Durham, where family life was important. She lived with her parents, Paul and Anne-Marie, and her younger siblings, Paul, her brother, and Melissa, her sister. They were always there for her and cheered her on. Courtney first went to Hesleden Primary School, and then until late 2018 she went to the academy at Shotton Hall in Peterlee to study. Teachers and friends saw right away that she wasn't like the other kids. She was quiet, yes, but her voice was so powerful that it could shake a room. Courtney studied at Shotton Hall Theatre School, Tash in Peterlee, Peanuts Masterclasses, the Kate Sears School of Music, and Julie Miles' Vocal Ovation to shape her voice. She became a little more sure of herself in each space, but she was still known for being quiet when she wasn't on stage. Everything changed when she held a microphone, though. A lot of people know her as the best finalist on America's Got Talent in 2018, but her story began many years before that. When she tried out for her first singing competition, Teen Star in Newcastle in April 2015, she sang Make You Feel My Love by Bob Dylan. Making it to the grand final was a big deal for someone so young and talented. That same year, her singing of Say Something at School during lunch went popular, letting people know about her who hadn't heard of her before. In 2016, Hartlepool named her Performer of the Year. The next year, she opened for Sister Sledge at the South Tyneside Festival, where 18,000 people watched. Also, in 2018, she sang at a U Support event to raise money for kids with major illnesses. When she tried out for The Voice Kids UK in 2017 with Tina Turner's Nutbush City Limits, it was her big break on TV. will.i.am liked her dancing so much that he asked her to do a part of the show again just so he could see it again. She made it all the way to the finals with Danny Jones as her coach. Singing well-known songs like I Got You, I Feel Good, and I'm Not Going. After that, she really turned things around on America's Got Talent in 2018. Courtney looked shy and nervous as she walked on stage, but when she started singing Hard to Handle by Otis Redding, everything went crazy. The crowd went crazy. Howie Mandel said she looked like Janis Joplin, which got her the golden buzzer right away and sent her straight to the live shows. Over 200 million people have seen her performance since it went viral. Later, some fans complained about her hidden experience on The Voice Kids, but her family and teachers defended her by saying she has always been very shy and that many of the contestants on AGT had already competed in other shows. Courtney didn't win AGT, but she did perform in Las Vegas with Shin Lim, who did win, got a record deal with Psycho and Arista Records, put out her own music, and then came back for America's Got Talent with her song Pretty Little Thing. She is still one of the top 50 AGT contestants in the world, which shows that her talent, confidence, and journey have only just started. Courtney's path to making her own songs and being independent. When Courtney Hadwin was only 14, she performed her original song Pretty Little Thing on America's Got Talent, The Winners. This was her first big step towards putting out music. Her new EP, The Cover Sessions, came out on October 25, 2019. Some of the songs she sang live were Sign of the Times by Harry Styles, Old Town Road by Lil Nas X, Sucker by the Jonas Brothers, and Someone You Love by Louis Capaldi. Right away, she was praised as a great artist with a voice and spirit that belied her age. Her fans had always known this. When asked to name the artists that inspire her musically, Courtney smiled and said the list was very long, but that Little Richard, James Brown, Janis Joplin, and Mick Jagger were some of the most important ones. She was even booked to play at Woodstock 50, a music gathering in honor of the famous 1969 event. But the event had a lot of problems, including problems with the setting, money, and people's desire not to make Woodstock 1999 look like a success. The event was finally called off. Then there was the plague, which stopped live music all over the world. For years, tours, festivals, and album releases were pushed back or cancelled. Courtney didn't go away, even when it was quiet. She put out a touching cover of John Lennon's Happy Christmas War Is Over in November 2020 on YouTube and other big streaming services. Courtney was also meant to be the main act at the 2021 FM4 Frequency Festival, but that event was also cancelled. During this time, she quietly cut ties with the record company that had worked with Psycho Music after it went out of business. One fan brought up Simon Cowell and Courtney's 2023 video for Breakable, and she replied, "It's all me for this one, completely independent, finally doing it my way." This made her independence stand out even more. From 2023 on, Courtney's creativity took off like a rocket. Breakable, her very emotional first song, came out on February 24, 2023. She wrote it with producer Kevin Bow. Not long after that, on April 7, she released another original song called That Girl Don't Live Here. She put out the soulful song Call Me Back in July. It showed a softer, more honest side of her voice. Her catchy rock single Monsters, which is about mental health challenges, came out on September 29, 2023. Fans liked how happy the song felt even though it had serious words, and it got to number 19 on Billboard's Hard Rock Digital Song Sales chart, which is a huge accomplishment for a young artist who was working on their own. Courtney kept things going with Christmas Rocks, a fun rock Christmas song that came out on November 24, 2023. Courtney sang at the New York Pop's 41st birthday gala in 2024 for the famous music boss Clive Davis. She then recorded all of her songs live at Metropolis Studios. She put out music videos for Spellbound, a pop-punk song, and You Only Love Me When I Lie, a bluesy single. She signed with MN2S Agency in 2024, but when they couldn't get her jobs, she moved to Oliver Mojita at Total Artist Management as her manager. That was the start of the next part of her independent, unstoppable journey. British contestant on a US stage, when Courtney Hadwin went on America's Got Talent in 2018, no one knew what was going to happen. The UK girl who was shy and quiet changed into a completely different person as soon as the music started. Her audition went viral almost overnight. Her amazing singing was praised by people all over the world. And her unexpected ability to be on stage. Yet, even though her talent was getting a lot of attention, not everyone was paying attention to her songs. Unexpectedly, a fight broke out over something that had nothing to do with her. She wasn't American. Inside Edition said that Courtney was only in the US on a short-term visa. This small fact quickly became a big topic of conversation online. Some watchers were confused or even annoyed by the fact that a non-American was competing on the show America's Got Talent. Here's how their fight went. They should be American if the name is American Idol. Some people on social media even questioned whether or not it was fair to let foreign performers compete, asking things like, why are there so many acts that aren't American when America is in the title? Now, this reaction wasn't really about Courtney. A lot of people agree that she is a very skilled performer. As a defense, her fans even said that talent knows no borders and that AGT has always accepted performers from all over the world. Still, the complaints were mostly about the idea behind the show. For some viewers, the idea of giving foreign contestants a prime spot was strange, especially since the show seemed to be made for Americans only. She wasn't going to let this noise get to her. A kid back then. It took her a while to calm down when she talked about the issue with Forbes. She said that she chose to focus on her singing instead of getting involved in arguments and even comments on the internet. She said that she would let the bad things happen around her name. She was surprisingly mature for someone so young. While people on the internet talked about her country, she was thinking about her shows, how she was growing, and the future. There was more to her time on AGT than just music. It led to a bigger discussion about who should be on these kinds of shows and whether nationality should even matter. Should everyone be able to enter talent shows? Should they stay in their home country at all times? These were the kinds of questions that came up because of how she looked. Courtney Hadwin stayed at the center of two very different stories in the end. One was happy about her viral success as a strong young talent, and the other was upset about the rules of the show she was on. Even though she didn't want the argument, she handled it well, and amidst all the noise, one thing stood out. It was clear that she was talented. The stress of what people expect and the ultimate change. When Courtney Hadwin walked out on stage for America's Got Talent in 2018, there was a huge buzz about her right away. It looked like she was going to win. Her audition went viral, the judges gave it 5 stars, and a lot of fans were ready to name her the winner. Things changed as the show went on though, and for some fans, being the front runner became a burden. Since the beginning, there were very high hopes. After an interview that was so good, anything that wasn't perfect felt like a letdown. Many things were given to Golden Derby as to why she didn't win, ranging from the songs she chose to how her live show went. A lot of her fans thought that because she started off so strong, there wasn't much room for mistakes. There have been threads on social networks like Reddit that break down her trip. There was even a message on RAGT that said it all. Her performance in the semifinals was the biggest thing that brought her down. And how a lot of people saw how obviously privileged she was, it was too clear. Many watchers felt that the story about Courtney was being built up so strongly that there was a quick backlash when the story's momentum changed. Comments like these capture that feeling. Another thing that was said against her was that her achievements were too consistent. Some people thought that early acts didn't always have the same emotional peak or raw energy, even though the audition was amazing and had some powerful moments. Gold Derby says that many people were shocked when she lost, in part because she seemed so sure of herself at first. Because of high hopes and the thought of even a small stumble, she was looked at very closely. To be clear, though, these are just the opinions and thoughts of some people in the crowd and among critics. They have nothing to do with Courtney herself. A lot of people didn't think this way and thought she was talented. Forbes asked Courtney how she deals with all the noise around her. She said that she knew the road would have ups and downs and that the pressure was real, but she was trying to keep her mind on the music and her growth. This kind of self-awareness showed that she was already mature, even though she was young. This story shows how having a lot of early success can be both good and bad. For Courtney, the interview that went viral opened up a lot of doors, but it also made everything much more important. Because of how high the hopes were from the beginning, the story felt more dramatic when she didn't win. It doesn't matter if you see her journey as a hiccup or a step towards something bigger. What happened with her went from being a sure winner to something that everyone talked about. Courtney Hadwin became famous after her early success on American Idol, but every act after that felt like a test because so many people were watching. Some people thought that the tide had changed. Others saw her going up in a way that wasn't straight. In any case, the story of her rise and the stress that came with it is an important part of her work. Switching labels in the music business. When Courtney Hadwin became famous after her amazing performance on America's Got Talent in 2018, one of the first things she did was sign with major record labels. In December 2018, she signed a long-term deal with Psycho Music and Arista Records to record and distribute music. She was then reported as saying that she was thrilled and thankful to have this chance to work on her music with so much help. When Courtney signed the deal, she became a part of the world of major labels, which is known for its big budgets, committees, tight deadlines, and high standards. Most of the time, these big labels give you access to top producers, big marketing, and distribution around the world. But they also have their own set of factors. A lot of artists and people who talk about the music business have said that big label deals can put marketing pressures on artists, change the direction of the music, and slow down the release schedule because big teams have a lot of things to do. For instance, Psycho Music has been criticized for artists who have said that they had trouble being creative and didn't have much power. Courtney's decision to become independent after having such a big label put on her seems to have been based on careful thought and a desire for more control. According to her Wikipedia page, she broke up with the label, which was supposed to take over her account after Psycho went out of business and switched to an independent release plan. It was her own message under one of her YouTube videos that made the difference. "This one is all mine. I'm finally doing things my way and am fully independent." People started talking about the bigger story after this move was made public online. It wasn't exactly a legal or dramatic scandal. Was this young artist's progress being slowed down by the big label's machinery? Was she changing her voice and style, or were they getting worse? What happened when she tried to get signed to a big label but failed? Was it because she was still too young or because her rock blues raw style didn't fit the pop commercial mold? No, fans and people who follow the music scene have pointed out that Courtney's indie period gave her the freedom to put out new music herself, like the 2023 song Breakable, which she co-wrote and put out on her own. Many of her fans thought it was exciting and real that she seemed to get back more of her artistic self when she went solo. But it also made people think about the trade-offs. There may be less money from major labels and fewer big-budget marketing, but artists may have more freedom. Courtney Hadwin's journey from signing with Psycho Arista to becoming self-employed shows a familiar tension in the music business today. Support for business versus freedom to be artistic. But for her, the move seems to be about taking charge of her voice, style, and time. If critics had seen her on a big label before, they might have wondered if it was holding her back. Her decision to go solo sends a message. She wants to decide how to make songs. That, many people think, will be the real test of her long-term happiness. Courtney Hadwin finally said yes. Courtney Hadwin made it clear in talks from 2024 to 2025 that she is no longer following someone else's rules. She stated that she has made big changes to how she makes and releases music since her big break on America's Got Talent and her signing with Psycho Music Arista Records. To just listen to this, she said that when she was on a label, one song wasn't really pop enough for them, and she couldn't let it go until she was on her own. This is not a random choice. Instead, it's making changes to a course that she thought was too limited by what the business expected. Courtney talked about how, when she was younger and signed to a big label, it felt like she didn't have much say in creative choices. She told on Yorkshire magazine in a Q&A that when she was 13, the team would set up writing sessions and expect me to understand and share these strong feelings, even though she wasn't even a teenager yet. That honest statement shows the most important thing she finally confirmed. She didn't feel heard under the old system, so she made the decision to change it. The truth of that change is clear starting in 2023. She began putting out new music on her own, including songs like Breakable. Together with producer Kevin Bow, they wrote and released the songs That Girl Don't Live Here, Call Me Back, and Monsters. The lyrics, the way she mixes rock, blues, soul, pop, and punk, and the way she acts on stage all show that she has returned her independence. She doesn't call herself a pop princess or a manufactured act. Instead, she calls herself an artist who makes songs because she wants to, not because her label tells her to. For fans, that means something easy but strong. People used to say that she was a young viral star who got a deal and was shaped by a big machine. But that story is changing. Instead, is confirming that she has always wanted to own her artistic work and is now doing it. In terms of her job, she's taken back the wheel. Courtney Hadwin has said in a number of interviews that she didn't want to be a big label artist because it didn't fit her. Her songs are now written or co-written by her, she picks her own style, and she shares them when she wants to. Now is the moment fans have been waiting for. There's more to the shy girl with the big voice than what you saw on TV. She's an artist who is fully in charge of her fame. Many people say that Courtney is worth about $3 million in early 2025. That's a big deal for someone who is still so young and still getting used to the music business. The number comes from her work on TV, in events, on streaming services, in albums, and in her own projects when she stopped competing in shows. A big part of her pay comes from being on TV. The big break she got on America's Got Talent and other TV shows made her very well known, which led to deals, gigs, and streaming options. One breakdown says that live shows by themselves could bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars for big-name acts. Royalties from streaming and money made on social media are the other big sources of income. Her yearly income from sponsorships and social media is thought to be between $217,000 and $309,000, depending on how many people follow her and interact with her posts. Courtney's move to self-released music adds another layer. She can get a bigger cut of the money she makes from her music because she releases her own singles and doesn't have to answer to a big record company. Major labels give artists a lot of publicity, but they also often take bigger cuts and put limits on what artists can do. Courtney's decision to go solo shows that she wants a long-term job over short-term commercial highs. This move may not cause big jumps in net worth in the first year, but it will strengthen value over time. It's also important to know that different people have different ideas about how much money she has. A lot of information is kept from the public, like the terms of contracts, tour income, costs, and investments. Even though $3 million is a good guess, her real wealth could be a bit higher or smaller. One thing is very clear when you look at Courtney Hadwin's whole life. There has been nothing normal about her rise to power. She didn't go down the polished, safe road that a lot of young performers do. Instead, she made a career that is messy in the best way possible. It's full of sudden turns, brave choices, quiet problems, and an honesty that not many artists show such a young age. The most noticeable thing about her is how easily she has grown into herself. At first, most of the talk was about how exciting she was on stage. They were amazed at how a shy kid could change so quickly when the lights were on. But as time went on, Courtney showed that she's much more than a popular video or an unexpected audition. She showed that she has her own ideas, is stubborn, and knows who she wants to be, not what other people think she should be. This is another important part of her story: she could wait. Courtney was never in a hurry to become the next big teen pop star, even though that's what the business wants from young artists all the time. She didn't jump at every chance just because it was big. Instead, she waited for the ones that felt right. That takes grown-ups. Also, it takes guts to refuse to agree when everyone else does. Even more impressive is how she deals with stress. At a time when most kids are still trying to figure out who they are, everyone was looking at her. She had to deal with being judged, compared to others, and having standards that were too high for someone so young. But she didn't let those things make her who she was. She didn't follow the latest trends or try to make everyone online happy. She worked hard to improve herself as a person as well as a singer. These days, Courtney's story makes me remember that being an artist isn't about being perfect or becoming famous suddenly. It has to do with growth. You have to be willing to fail, learn from your mistakes, and then try again with more faith. Courtney is still changing into the person she was meant to be. That's the fun part. Her journey isn't over yet. More than that, she's only just begun writing the stories her way. We've learnt over the past few years that Courtney Hadwin's best work is still to come. Thanks for seeing. There is more deep study of the lives, journeys, and secrets behind your favorite stars coming soon. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for your help. With it, we can bring you even more real stories, facts, and moments from celebrity life. Once more, thanks for being here. Next time, I'll see you in a movie.